Good evening and welcome to Roundtable. Today we have with us Dr. Uditha Liyanage. He is the Director of the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening to
you. Doctor, we are going to talk mainly about management and principles and organizations. But before that, we would really like to get more details and a little bit of background about yourself.
Deepamala, let me tell you at the outset that I'm pleased to be on Prime TV and to be chatting with you on subjects related to management and marketing, subjects of which I'm a keen student. You asked me to say something about myself. Well, the first 17 years of my working life, I was a corporate executive. I held senior management positions in 3 leading organizations in Sri Lanka. And thereafter, I made an unusual mid-career move and joined the academia. And I have been with the university system, with the Postgraduate Institute of Management over the last 17 years. So that has been the second half of my working life so far. So first as a business manager, and now as an academic, but I also get my hands dirty, so to speak. I work as a consultant and as a trainer to a number of leading organizations. I'm also on the boards of a number of leading organizations in Sri Lanka.
Like, for example?
I'm the board of directors of DMO. I'm on the board of directors of Ceylon Coal Stores, of Kuruvita Textiles, a Brandix company, and a couple of other companies as well.
So, Doctor, like with all those experience on at the round table, let's look at the organizations, because organization is an extremely crucial unit when you look at the society and the landscape of any country. So, how can we talk about the efficiency of the organizations? So, in other words, what I'm asking is, are there tested principles of managing organizations, tested over a period of time?
Before I talk about some of the time-tested principles of managing organizations, keys to managing organizations, let me quote the management guru Peter Drucker, who said something interesting. Drucker said that there are no poor countries and no rich countries. There are only well-managed countries and poorly managed countries. Now, I think the same thing goes for organizations. You know, there are no rich organizations and poor organizations. It's just a matter of managing organizations. There are well-managed organizations which are doing well, which are rich, which are creating value and wealth. And on the other hand, there are those organizations that aren't managed well. So it's extremely important to figure out what separates these 2 types of organizations, the well-managed versus the not so well-managed organizations. And the question that you posed, you know, are there principles, keys to managing organizations? There's something interesting here, Deepamala. I mean, if you look at the management literature over the years, there are these management fads, if I may call them. You know, they come into being, they are conceived, they have become very popular, and a great deal of currency, books are written about them, seminars are held, and then they fizzle out. You know, they don't become popular and they're not talked about any longer. And I was asking the question the other day, are there management principles which have stood the test of time? Are there eternal verities,
exactly,
you know,
yes,
so to speak? And when I looked at some of these fundamentals, management principles that have stood the test of time, one thing that I figured out is that these basic management principles are rooted in human behavior. You know, that's why they have been enduring. I would like to maybe refer to 2 or 3 of such basic principles of management, which you can ignore at your own peril. The first principle, I would like to call this a mantra, if I may, is in organizations, you get what you see. You get what you see.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Let me describe. Let me present to you one of my favorite management frameworks. You know, that think of do. Organizations do things. They carry out various programs, various activities, the things they do. Now, needless to say, organizations do the things they do not for their own sake, but because they want to achieve certain results. So they do things in order to get certain results. Now, when you don't achieve the results that you desire, that you expect to get, what do you do in organizations? What you typically do, right, is to go back, right, figure out, well, what went wrong, try and isolate the reasons, factors that contributed to failure, and then redo. You tweak, you alter, you modify what you did the first time around, and then you redo. And this time around, you expect better results. And in real life, you know that we do achieve marginally, incrementally better results by redoing things. But rarely do we achieve what I may call breakthrough results. There's no fundamental, radical, change in the performance of your organization. Now, that is because many organizations forget that it's not about, do, get, and get, do, this loop that you keep moving backwards and forwards. There is a vital third component that we tend to gloss over. And this is what I call C.
C.
C, S-E-E. By C, I mean the underlying assumptions, the values, and the beliefs of the organizations, which sometimes you rarely check. You take them for granted, and it's all about, okay, we went wrong, and let's redo, let's change what we did, let's alter what we did. So you go what I call single loop learning, right? You learn from what you did and correct yourself and come back, but that's single loop. But if you can question in a fundamental sense your assumptions, your underlying beliefs, then you get into what I may call double loop learning. May I just illustrate this?
Exactly.
I'm sure you heard of Gallup research agency. Gallup does many things. They are known in this part of the world for doing election polls, but it's a fully fledged research agency. And about, I think about 10 months ago, Gallup carried out a very interesting bit of research. Gallup asked 12,000 managers across countries, across industries, three very simple questions, right? Now, interestingly, Gallup said these 12,000 managers that they interviewed came from excellent companies, high-performing companies, and some of the 12,000 managers came from average or mediocre companies, right? So 12,000 managers divided into two groups: excellent managers, excellent companies, mediocre companies. And something interesting, based on the answers that they got to these three very simple questions that were posed, Gallup could say the degree of statistical accuracy, these answers came from the excellent managers, and these answers came from the mediocre managers. I'll give you just one of the three questions.
Why is that? I was very eagerly waiting to
first question.
listen to all
Let
three.
me give the first question that Gallup posed. Gallup told the respondents, the 12,000 managers, imagine that you guys are the sales managers of your organization. And you got to make a decision now. You have one sales vacancy to fill, position for a sales representative, a sales guy, and there are two candidates, right? Here's the profile of the first candidate. The first guy is a congenial, nice, friendly, interesting chap, and his integrity is beyond question. He will fit into your team readily, easily, right? And the first guy is likely to produce $100,000 a month. That's what he will bring in terms of sales value. Profile of the second guy, second candidate. He has a mind of his own, might question the status quo,